Although the potential of artificial intelligence, AI, has been there since World War II, technology and engineering have only recently begun to catch up with expectations. In reality, it appears like AI is currently winning. But first, let's define AI clearly so that we can stop worrying about being replaced by machines. You can learn more about artificial intelligence, sometimes referred to as machine intelligence, and computer science by conducting a quick web search. This intelligence is presented by computers as opposed to the natural intellect displayed by humans. Artificial intelligence research activity, commercial investment, and public acceptance have all significantly increased during the past 10 years. Expert in the subject Andrew Ng refers to it as the new electricity because no industry will be immune to AI revolution in the years to come, just as electricity transformed practically everything a century ago. We must go back in time to have a better understanding. The concepts and mathematics underlying the most common algorithms, as well as the philosophy behind AI, have been known for decades. On a primitive IBM 701 computer in 1955, Arthur Samuel wrote a software for a game of checkers that could learn by combining a tree search algorithm with learnt weights. It competed against the Connecticut state champion in 1961 and defeated him. This was not going to last, and the first AI winter began in the years 1967 to 1976. Interest increased when affordable personal computers started to appear in homes and small offices in the late 1970s and early 1980s. This, however, began to fade once more as the realization grew that, despite what cheap hardware offered, it was still insufficient to turn AI into something meaningful. Success did not go unnoticed at this time, as one of the pivotal papers at the center of this revolution was published in Nature during this time. Ironically, Hollywood produced some of the most influential ideas at this time, inspiring a whole new generation already accustomed to having easy access to computers and the idea of coding with films like War Games, Short Circuit, and DARYL. However, in practice, the exaggeration of AI's capabilities and the failure to deliver on overly optimistic expectations and impractical products led to several expensive failures for business and governments. This hastened the loss in financing for academic research and business interest. Because it had been appropriated by big business, political correctness, and dubious academics only looking to capitalize on a buzzword, AI had come to be seen as a nasty word. In addition, Sir Tim Berners-Groundbreaking Lee's work on the World Wide Web, WWW, in the early 1990s gave the world a sexier solution to a problem that was much more relatable and feasible, as well as the ideal justification for the millions of computers that have inundated every single household in the developed world. Up until about 2010, winter had once more cast a blanket over AI, but what changed? Both nothing and everything serve as the answer. PCs and the WWW had lost all of their appeal and had turned into commonplace products. Everyone now owns numerous computers, and broadband is widely available. Everyone was looking forward to the next big thing now that the wow effect had subsided. The same WWW that contributed to the demise of interest in artificial intelligence, AI, 20 years prior, 10 years of social media platforms, and the launch of the iPhone were all producing enormous volumes of data about prospective clients. Everybody could produce data at any time and from any location, and businesses were happy to woo us with ever more enticing free services in exchange for information about our shopper preferences, pet peeves, political affiliations, age, gender, likes and dislikes, and every fetish and habit we probably were unaware we had. This data soup got worse with the explosion of internet-connected devices. The data's monetization was the only thing left to do. Beyond the statement on your website, which states that artificial intelligence, AI, is the reverse of natural intelligence, AI is actually the branch of computer science that employs tools to simulate human reasoning, giving the impression that these tools have cognitive capabilities. AI's earliest forms consisted just of a collection of pre-programmed instructions, such as if this happens, do this, else, do this or that. Such expert systems lacked intelligence since they were constrained by their nature and unable to adapt to circumstances for which they weren't specifically coded. Modern AI systems, on the other hand, are adept at picking up on subtle cues and patterns from a set of data and using that knowledge to process new data pertaining to the same issue. This is how people reason and respond, and this is where the intelligent part comes from. Many skills are acquired through study, practice, or observation of others. By gradually and frequently unconsciously assimilating the myriad complexities of a language's grammar, we practice speaking it. While we communicate, we do not consider grammar, at least not when we are speaking fluently. Similar to this, we gradually train our bodies and minds to respond to outside cues, mostly visual ones, by changing the speed and direction of the car. We can learn to distinguish between potholes and manhole covers and to foresee when and where speeding can genuinely prevent an accident. Even while the results themselves are frequently evidence of the legitimacy of our decisions, it is frequently quite difficult to define a cause for why we do what we do. AI programs can be broken down into a series of mathematical operations. Their output is learned through the use of mathematical operations on enormous amounts of data rather than being the product of a set of coded instructions. The people responsible for creating these models or algorithms might be able to comprehend and explain the basic idea behind how their program produces particular outputs, but they typically are unable to explain how their AI application will respond to particular data. Nearly 99% of the current AI economy is accounted for by this method, called supervisory learning. It functions by giving a huge volume of data to an AI system that has previously been labeled with the outputs the system is supposed to be able to recognize. From this data, the system will learn to link patterns in the input with an output as well as with previously unobserved data. A variation of this strategy that does not require the machine to be actively taught using a huge amount of labeled data is reinforcement learning, RL. Instead, an RL-based AI program known as an agent learns from the results of its decisions through trial and error-like random choices and past experiences. This is like teaching someone to ride a bike for the first time with merely the instruction "don't fall." These teaching techniques are the focus of much study and research and have produced widely reported outcomes. These are the sites where users can pick up games like Space Invaders or go and learn how to play them by letting loose and experimenting with different techniques. It is obvious, however, that while useful for gameplay, using such a technique to train a machine how to diagnose cancer can be challenging. Starting from scratch and relying solely on trial and error to train a driving AI might be risky and expensive. On the other hand, the traditional classroom method of creating sufficiently sizable, accurately annotated datasets to represent actual driving circumstances can also be prohibitively expensive and time-consuming. So why not train a machine to work for a person? This is the guiding principle of a recent field of study called imitation learning. Whatever the algorithm, apprenticeship has a long history of success with humans, therefore there is no reason why it shouldn't be used to machines. Continuing with the driving example, put a car AI agent in the driver's seat and have it produce all the motions, steering, acceleration, deceleration, etc., that it determines are required to travel from point A to point B. A human mentor will be driving the car while the machine analyzes data from its GPS, cameras, proximity detectors, and other sensors to decide the best course of action and respond appropriately. By comparing its activities to those of a person, the AI will gradually learn to adapt to its surroundings. In order to expose AI to a greater variety of real-world circumstances, this training can be conducted on the way to or from school, on a road trip, or along delivery routes. All we need to do is make sure the human driver we choose is smarter than a machine to begin with. This could be the most practical method of transferring human knowledge to a machine while also making training safer, less expensive, and possibly faster. The value of these algorithms comes in their capacity to utilize raw acquired data without considerable data preparation and pre-labeling requirements, and is known as unsupervised AI, a method of AI that requires no prior knowledge of the data. They may have a greater claim to the intelligence component of AI because they can identify patterns and data clusters with little assistance from humans. It is still simply mathematics in reality. Such methods may be used in the analysis of market research responses to find clusters of similar responses, or in the processing of geotagged weather data to isolate or identify specific climatic patterns. Neural networks, particularly deep neural networks, DNN, and their variations, are by far the most widely used AI algorithms. These methods have undergone extensive steady refinement to the point that, in the 2012 ImageNet competition, a convolutional DNN obtained a 10.8% one-shot improvement in image recognition. Overnight, DNN seized the top spot and have come to represent AI. These networks are very flexible, yet they function more like a black box than any other algorithm. Even when the outcomes of such networks are empirically supported in many domains, it is nearly impossible to rationalize or explain the results. In many cases, this lack of explainability is detrimental, and true AI experts are aware of the occasions when simpler algorithms make more sense. Varied issues call for different solutions, which are not always neural networks, as is the case with many things in reality. This is all for today. Thank you for staying with us. Don't forget to like and subscribe our channel. See you soon.